The Fair Work Commission is facing a dramatic rise in inaccurate claims as Australian workers increasingly use AI tools like ChatGPT to file submissions, prompting the Commission to require applicants to disclose AI usage and push for federal legislative changes. For more, we're joined by Dr. Karen Sutherland from the University of the Sunshine Coast. Good to see you. What impact has generative AI had on the operations of the Fair Work Commission?
It's apparently increased their workload by 70% in terms of the claims being made. So that's one issue. Another issue is that many of the claims, they're describing it as it's giving a sheen of legal plausibility because they're using ChatGPT as their sort of legal representation. What could go wrong? And probably the free version as well, which makes it worse. And it's actually making things up. So it's inventing witness statements, it's inventing claims made from previous cases. And so not only do the office have to just the sheer volume go through those, they have to then really identify what's real and what's not in these claims.
Yeah, not surprising that people are going to turn to that. And obviously, with all of the IR changes that have been brought in by the government and the unions over the past couple of years, there's a lot of opportunity, and where there's opportunity, people will find a way. So when we look at the Fair Work Commission, they've only got so many people, obviously. How are they handling all of this?
Not very well. Their KPI is to address 90% of claims within 12 weeks. But when their increased workload is 70% with the same team, how are they going to do that? Are they going to have to use AI to go through the claims and then check if there's AI hallucinations? What are they going to do? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tricky for them, but I wonder whether this is something that I'll have to put fines out there to try and prevent people from putting in these kind of inaccurate claims, because if you were to do that in a court of law, obviously you'd be pushed out pretty quickly. Fair Work is meant to be a different style hearing, but still, it's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing they're going to do, they haven't talked about fines so much, but they're making people put links in to actual legal cases if they're going to cite them in their claims. That way they can check if it's real, because ChatGPT just can make things up, and even it gives you links sometimes that don't go anywhere, or it's just the wrong link. Making them to be accountable with what they're putting in there, I think, is a good start, but it's not going to really change the volume of claims that they're receiving.
And they'd be receiving a lot, right? Because they'll be looking towards ChatGPT, but I don't think that actually uncovers the full story. There are more claims at Fair Work because there are more disputes going on between companies and people as well. No doubt, given that, the nature of that, and the fact that a lot of these workers probably can't afford legal advice, that are having these difficulties in the first place, there's no wonder that they're looking towards it. And I wonder whether that's a sign of whether we need to change these systems to make it a little bit easier for people to be able to approach legal cases like Fair Work. What do you think?
I agree. The forms that they have to fill out to make a claim must be a bit prohibitive and a bit inaccessible for the everyday person to be able to actually lodge that claim. So maybe they're turning to ChatGPT for advice on how to do that. So yes, maybe changing the form would help more people to actually raise a valid claim. It's just that, as you say, ChatGPT is what people are turning to. And the thing is, with ChatGPT, again, it's making things up. So yes,
yeah, it's a generative nature, right? It's a generative nature of it, that it's probably giving people false hope as well, because, as you say, it's creating a narrative. Now, you said something a bit earlier I didn't actually understand. So if you're using the free version of ChatGPT, do you get different results from if you are paying for it?
Oh, absolutely. So the quality of the outputs is much lower. The hallucination rate is higher than if you're actually paying for ChatGPT. By paying for it, you do get a lot more in terms of the quality of what the AI is going to generate for you, for sure.
All right, let's move on, because X is taking bold steps to combat AI-generated content while promoting its own Grok chatbot as it adapts to the challenges posed by AI and strives to keep its platform authentic. What do we mean by this? Because obviously there is so much content being delivered on X, and the idea that it's the world's newsroom, as Elon Musk now boasts, or it's the town square, means it's susceptible to a lot of people showing up with different ideas.
I think it's very confusing. It's use our AI tool, but not like that. And don't use that. It's like very specific descriptions around what you can and you can't do, because Grok's baked into X. So it makes it very easy for people to use it. But yes, I think they're worried that apparently the users on the platform are not liking AI generated content. They want that human interaction. But X, and when it was Twitter, had a huge bot problem even when it was Twitter. So they're trying to combat the bot problem and also flag AI generated content like videos and images, etc.
I use X a lot, obviously, as a journalist, looking for stories, looking for news, and looking for vision. And this week there's been huge drama unfolding in Mexico, particularly on the eastern coast around Cancun, Playa del Carmen as well, because of the cartels. And there's so much footage coming out, incredible footage, that to begin with, you say, is this real? And you have to check with what Grok says. But Grok isn't always getting it right itself there, because one image that I saw of a town that was on fire, it was a beautiful sunset shot. I'm looking at it thinking, this doesn't look real. And then Grok says it is real, but then further down, there are posts of people saying this is not real. So even the AI doesn't know what's AI sometimes.
Oh, 100%. Asking AI to check AI, again, it's what happens on Meta with the sort of community standards when things are flagged and really weird things are flagged because the AI is making the decisions, and people getting locked out of their Instagram accounts because of AI. Yeah, so it's not accurate yet, and it can't really, I think relying on it 100% is not a great idea at this stage in AI's evolution. So yeah, and it's going to get harder. It's going to be much more challenging to determine what is real and what is not, even if you're using AI or even just looking at it as a human, because it's getting so good in terms of the quality that you have to really be in it all the time. But even then, you can sometimes not tell the difference.
What's frightening, though, is you have a lot of people who are cynical about it, you and I discussing it, putting a very cautionary eye across it. But a lot of these pictures and videos that are being posted that are clearly fake are getting retweeted, are being reshared, are getting the likes, getting the engagement, which is no doubt driving the desire to continue to make this stuff up. What began with Russian disinformation, if you will, has now turned to mass disinformation, which is being shared across social media.
Oh, absolutely. It's a growing problem, and it's one we've experienced for a long time, but it's going to keep getting much harder to determine that. And you're right, people, if they're getting that engagement, they're going to keep making and generating video to keep driving that, particularly if their accounts are monetized and the platforms aren't doing anything about it. Like in some countries, like in China, you can actually be fined, and the platforms can be fined for not flagging AI generated content if the creators don't actually do it. But here, like in Australia and the US, we're still a bit behind in those sort of guardrails. So I wonder.
Right. The idea is that there's no freedom in China with the internet. We fight for freedom of speech in the US and in countries like Australia as well, where we want to make sure that we don't get silenced. The problem is that bad actors use that against us, make it really hard. Just quickly, what can X actually do here?
Trialing technology to find the bots. They're trying to get creators to disclose when it's AI generated content. They're trying to identify it and track it as well. It's going to get harder and harder to do that because the technology evolves faster than the guardrails at this stage. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
We will. Appreciate your time as always. Dr. Karen Sutherland there from the University of the Sunshine Coast. Talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you.